We met before either one of us really went deep into crypto, and I think you first came here in 19 or early 20, and
Yeah, early 20.
We were talking about White House stuff, and then I kind of blinked and looked back, and you were deep in this ecosystem. So
yeah, I mean, so before I came back, I went back and looked at that interview. That's exactly right. We were talking about mistakes in judgment, things that I predict. I also predicted that Trump would lose that election, and of course he went on to lose the election. Not saying that I'm prescient or anything like that. It just seemed like it was common sense at the time. But crypto for me, I followed Mike Novogratz, and I followed
Galaxy Digital,
and I followed Michael Saylor. And so Saylor got his first taste of. First of all, he talks about this, but not that much. Saylor was very negative on Bitcoin. He didn't understand it. He thought it was garbage. And then he had the eureka moment, and that's what happens. Once you have the eureka moment, you're like, oh my God, I've got to own this. And then you wade into crypto, and then you understand the technical properties associated with crypto. You realize all of the nonsense about it being a decentralized pet rock and a Ponzi scheme and all this stuff. You realize none of that's true. And when you realize that, it's a big awakening for people. And so what I tell people, listen, Jamie Dimon doesn't like crypto, Warren Buffett doesn't like crypto, but ask them, have they done the deep dive into Bitcoin or crypto? And they invariably say no. And I would just say that anybody that does that, it's a one-way ticket towards crypto. It's a one-way ticket down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin. Whether it's Paul Tudor Jones, Stan Druckenmiller, Bill Miller, the old legendary Legg Mason portfolio manager that outperformed the S&P, they all own Bitcoin for a reason. They get it, and they move towards it when you understand it more.
Well, you had a conversation, I think, in the hotel lobby with Larry Fink a few years ago, and he saw you, and he's like, "You like this Bitcoin thing?" And he's like, "I think it's terrible."
Garbage.
Garbage, yeah.
It was garbage.
But he had just invested in the equity of Circle, I think, so he kind of liked blockchain.
Good memory.
And you said to him, "Look, do some more research on it." You kind of asked him to go a little deeper, and you compliment him for actually doing that. And he's no spring chicken.
First of all, I don't want to take any credit for that. He did that on his own. The only thing where I think we were somewhat additive, Robbie Mitchnick, who is one of his acolytes, works for him at BlackRock, convinced the BlackRock bureaucracy that they should set up a Bitcoin trust, which they then applied for a Bitcoin ETF to convert the trust into an ETF. And the BlackRock bureaucracy went back to Robbie and said, well, you got to prove that you can raise outside money. So he came to my colleague Brett Messing at SkyBridge, and Brett lit him up with $10 million to get the trust started. And so we were the first money into the BlackRock situation. And so Brett Messing, Robbie Mitchnick, they made that happen, which rolled it into the ETF. Now, while we were doing that, Mitchnick and his team were educating Larry Fink, and lo and behold, an unbelievable fixed income expert, an incredible entrepreneur, great businessman, largest asset manager in the world. I get Bitcoin, I'm moving towards Bitcoin, and to quote Larry, it is a store of value, and there will be a flight to safety to that asset.
It's incredible to watch him talk about it now. It just seems like the craziest 180 degree and Saylor it tickles him because he's always retweeting when he says it's an asset that protects you, and it's an international store of value, and like all these things that Fink comes out and says. And now he is marketing it like a champ. He's really
absolutely. Well, listen, here's what I would say. I missed Uber. I had Travis in my office. He said, I'm going to create this app. There's a sharing economy. And I said, okay, so hold on a second. My daughter is going to have an app on her phone. There's going to be a no-name driver in a no-name car, his car or her car. Going to pick my daughter up and drive her around the city. I said, okay, no, thank you. That's the stupidest idea that I've ever heard. And so a $500,000 investment in Uber at that time worth $50 million today. So I miss things a lot. And so now the question is, and we were talking about this before the show, the question is, are we right on Bitcoin?
We are.
I believe we are. And
we are.
I believe I have all the statistical and security analytical capability to understand it, and therefore I believe we're right. But I've been humbled by life and markets. I got the early piece of the story very wrong, because when Bitcoin was at 69,000 in November of 2021, I said it's going to 100,000. I did not see the political winds being such where they would block it for political purposes. Knowing full well they were going to lose the court cases at a court of law in the United States, where we have administrative law clauses that prohibit regulators from being arbitrary and capricious. So they knew they were going to lose the court case. And so they crushed Bitcoin and they crushed other digital assets. But here's the thing, Barry, and I'm embarrassed to admit this, and the legendary Max Kaiser is on the wall. Hopefully he won't fall off the wall when I say this. I want to applaud Gary Gensler for one thing. Had he not slowed down the locomotion that was taking place in 2021, we may not have uncovered Sam Bankman-Fried or 3 Arrows or any of the other deleveraging or fraudulent debacles that took place. Yeah. And so nobody talks about that, but the truth of the matter is, had he done what was pursuant and consistent with the law, we could potentially still be living in a Sam Bankman-Fried world today. So thank God we're not.
And that could have meant a much bigger problem further down the line.
A bigger explosion. Oh, right. No. Everyone that commits fraud to that level, they pretend they can skate.
Right.
And maybe they won't get caught for a year or 2 years, or in Bernie Madoff's case, 30 years. But then it's just a much bigger problem when it eventually goes.
I never heard of that perspective, but you're right, Mooch. If that had kept going, then they could have swept it under the rug and kept it quiet. And then maybe now it would have blown up massively, or in a few years.
And it may have blown up after the ETFs were established, and it could have turned.
Right.
An investor in the ETF is an interesting beast. I don't want to own Bitcoin in a wallet. I don't want a MetaMask wallet. I don't know how to open a Coinbase account. I don't want my own cold storage. Oh, wait a minute. I can buy a Bitcoin ETF with a QSIP number. I call my broker, and it's going to go into my account, and then I can turn it up on my app, and I can see where it is every day, and it's that easy. Shoot it in. But imagine if that first experience for those people was the rollover and crisis and debacle of 3 Arrows, FTX, Genesis. You pick the different things that blew up. You know?
Yeah.
So Gary has to be, as much as I dislike him, I think he's been a terrible SEC commissioner, he has to be applauded for that.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and financial freedom for everyone else around the world. Get involved in the cryptocurrency markets, get involved in the NFT markets. This is your moment. Life all comes down to a few moments. Don't let this pass. Now it's not too late. Next year's going to be too late. Ultimately, this is about freedom. That's the way I see it. This is about giving power back to the people and enabling billions of people worldwide to use the financial markets to improve their lives and those of their friends and their families and their communities. Honestly, I think it's a violation of human rights not to allow people basic access to financial services. Because right now people are being kept in the dark, they're being robbed of education, and it's a travesty. And so I'm looking for people that want to join me and be a part of this solution
And that all happens inside the DeFi Academy. The gains my students are making are absolutely amazing. Double, triple digit gains in the first month alone. That's amazing. This will change your life. Now is the time to get involved. I'm gonna tell you exactly how my students in my academy made money in the last 30 days. I'm talking about real trading results. And let me just whet your appetite a little bit. Let me hit you with some numbers. I'm talking Brendan from New Zealand is up 68.77% on the month. Steve from Europe up 83%. Albert in Singapore up 169.9% on one single trade. I got Susan up 153% on her call options alone, also rocking 139% returns and 442% returns as well on individual trades. These are people that are changing their financial future in the last 30 days, but it's based on trading discipline.
I've graduated over 500 students from inside my academy from over 54 countries around the world. It's amazing. When it comes to crypto, DeFi, and blockchain, we love this space. We truly believe it's the future. This is down to our core. It's authentic to what we're doing, and everybody can tell through the camera because you can't make this stuff up.
If you're watching me now, wherever you are, I implore you, take 60 seconds right now and join my academy. Apply today. Now you've got a chance. Life all comes down to a few moments. What are you gonna do? What's the choice that you're going to make?